What is up, guys? It's Monday. So, here, Modern Magic Monday is going to try something a little different with the whole Pokemon stuff at the bottom. Just trying to keep people more involved for those that are kind of following the stream, all that kind of good stuff. Let me make sure you guys can see a little bit better, since now we have to adjust the cameras and do everything like that. So this is, of course, Modern Magic Mondays. As you might expect, hence the title. We sit here every single week and talk about Modern, talk about Magic the Gathering for our continual coverage of the, of course, weekly stream that we do here. We do 10 weeks of coverage, simple, easy. We keep track of all the points of all the players that are taking place, and the best top 8 players point-wise get to compete in their own little invitational there. So we're going to be jumping in. We got 5 rounds tonight, kind of a mix of players, mix of coverage, and that's what we like to do over here, is we like to try to provide as many different avenues for you to learn about the games themselves, learn about very particular decks, why somebody might be playing a particular deck, why they might be making the specific plays that they're making. So, you know, enough of the normal chit-chat that we might do. We can sit there and do some discussions in between games and during the games for all of you guys watching at home. So let's hop over and just get started with game number 1, because that's why you guys are here to watch some Modern. And oh my gosh, guess what I forgot to put the timer on, guys. Let's get that up while these players are getting ready to go. This is going to be TJ rocking out Affinity. And then we've got Eric trying out the whole red-green Tron aspect of it. Now, he is new to the Tron style of play. He's borrowing somebody else's deck, saying, you know what? I think I'm going to try it this week. See what can happen with it. It is a powerful deck. A lot of people, you know, have been playing with it since there has been an increase in Jund. They've decided, you know what? Tron's always been a pretty fun one to battle against Jund. Let's see how it works out. Affinity, of course, has been a thing forever. If you guys are familiar with the list or the deck in general, you'll kind of know, oh, okay, I know what to expect with this robot style of play, right? That is kind of how you're going to be doing it. It's a combination of go wide or pierce, right? You can decide, I'm going to try and just go for this one big creature and just go at you. It can kill you with poison damage, it can kill you with regular damage, or I can try, you know what, I'm going to go wide and just beat you down by putting a bunch of +1 counters on my guys, using Master Ethereum to make guys bigger. Cranial Plating helps with that kind of combination of whether you're going pierce or go wide strategy. So we're going to have to wait and see what sort of style that we're going to be seeing. Now, if you've been following along with Modern coverage, you know that a lot of people have been trying out the whole mono green style of Tron, which is a fine way to go. Right, you do get access to some other cool cards. People can be able to run maybe the Emrakul in those sort of lists. Of course, the normal is you'll see Wurmcoils, you'll see Ulamogs, you'll see the Karns, you'll see the Ugins. Those are normal across the board. Emrakul is kind of that one that you don't see as often. Walking Ballista, you'll see in kind of the mono green. This red green, though, does get access to other stuff like lightning bolts available to it. Pyroclasm is one of them. Sometimes they run Fire Spout. There's just other cards that players can run. And if you are going to be facing down kind of a go wide strategy, I like the idea of having red available to you. Now, of course, you do have Oblivion Stone as one of those main deck removal spells that you can be able to use to kind of help you deal with those kind of go wide strategies. So we're going to have to see how lucky Eric is with his draws here and how quick TJ is. Now, a lot of games that people play with how many cards will an Affinity player drop on turn 1. I'm going to guess 3. You know, maybe he's got a slow hand. Sometimes you can get a slow hand and he's only playing like 2 cards. And you're like, wow, it's like a regular game of Magic. Other times they can be like, all right, here's 4 cards. All right, here's 5 cards. I've got everything I need to just kind of dump this out. Low on mana, but high on ways to generate mana. So like Mox Opal, Springleaf Drum, things like that to just cheat things out a little bit quicker. So we do see the lovely miscut Tron lands that Eric is running, because he is borrowing, of course, our Season 1 champions Tron list here. And there's a good old Blinkmoth Nexus, Cranial, nope, sorry, Springleaf Drum into a Memnite. So there's that 3 cost. Got lucky, guys. Got lucky. And the Grove. Grove works really nice if you're playing against, you know, something like the Death Shadow list, where you can manipulate their life just by tapping it and say, hey, I will now generate a green and give you a life. So there is that aspect. Doesn't really come into play too much in this particular matchup, but is something to consider maybe in future matchups, or reason to be running this red-green list. Alright, let's see. Looks like he will opt for the Sylvan Scrying, so that does give TJ a life here, so we'll put him to 21. And we'll find that tower. So it does have the mine available to him. Tower there. A second Blinkmoth. Looks like he does have... Oh, Steel Overseer. Great for this go wide strategy that we were talking. He says, coming at you for 1. Eric says, fine. I'll go to 19. And now Eric is getting himself ready here, trying to decide where his next play. Does he have the land that he needs? Is he looking for it here? Ancient Stirring is a really good card for this style of play because you can find a threat, or you could be able to find a land off of it. So looks like he is missing 1 piece. Looks like there is a Ghost Quarter in his hand, an Ulamog, a Walking Ballista, and a World Breaker, I believe, is the last one. Just from the kind of glimpse that I got to see. So it looks like, yeah, he will actually use this to say, I'm not going to give you any more life right now. I'm going to sack this, generate a green, draw a card. And so I guess they're just going over it because this, again, is Eric's, this is round 1. Eric's picking this up, practicing, borrowing somebody else's deck, trying something a little different this week. So just making sure they're getting through the motions correctly. And now he'll do the Ancient Stirrings here and be able to look for the top couple cards. Now, if there's any cards that you are not familiar with, you can simply use our card bot. Simply say exclamation card and type in the card's name. You don't have to be perfect, but you can get close, all right? And it will let you know. So, like for example, with Ancient Stirrings, you do look at the top 5 cards. You get to pick one of those colorless cards. So that means those lands, or in this instance where you have your planeswalkers are colorless with Karn and Ugin, or your creatures, since they're Eldrazi, or artifact creatures, those are colorless. So it looks like he'll find that map. Not really finding the Tron piece that he needed, so that works out pretty nicely, so he can be able to get that next turn. So yep, we'll see him play the map and pass. I believe he had a Dismember as well. No, okay. Maybe I was just thinking about a nice card that would help him out here. I think he's got it in his sideboard. So looks like the Galblast is coming his way, which is really fun. Dealing 4 damage to him because he does have that Metalcraft. And now is kind of getting things ready. Again, at this point, TJ is trying for the go wide, right? He has the ability to push for extra damage. He is feeling pretty good because things like all his dust and stuff like that do not affect an affinity player. Alright, tapping 2. Spellskite, one of the nice things that TJ does still like to run. A little bit less than most people. Like, not many people still run the main board Spellskite, but I'm a big fan of Spellskite, so I'm happy to see him still running it. But we'll use that Spellskite now to activate the Blinkmoth Nexus, and he's going to activate Steel Overseer and put a +1 counter on all of his creatures. So he's coming across here now for 4 damage here. Blink and Memnite dealing 2 damage each. Steel Overseer, of course, was the one that put those +1 counters. So that's what the style is. Looks like... Okay. Adjusting things here. So, at this point, Eric will have 5 mana to work with this turn. Because he has to spend the time using his expedition map to find a land. Right, the last Tron piece that he's looking for, which is that power plant. So he'll find whichever power plant he likes, opts for the signed copy, will be able to put that into his hand, play it, and have 5 mana to work with. Now, the thing is, his creatures and threats that he's got cost more than 5. He could go for the Walking Ballista for 2, right? And then, if he had it, I don't think he has it though. No, so he doesn't have a Walking Ballista. Still has that World Breaker. Still has Ulamog. Looks like 2 other lands and an Ancient Stirrings here. Ghost Gorder, Grove of the Burn Willows. So yeah, so he's just sitting with an Ulamog and a World Breaker, and just has to pass now. And let's see, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He can do at least 10 points of damage. Okay, Ancient Stirring is going to be looking for another threat here. Gets the Karn, which is nice, but even so, it's TJ has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now just going through the motion. So if he goes 2, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For sure, he could put Eric to 1. So activate, activate. I guess just double checking his math. Oh, he's got a Galv Blast. Ah, okay. Alright, so yeah. So if he goes 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, he kills him here. Right? So he has to use his Blink Moth that he activated to use his Springleaf Drum to generate a red. But he's going to turn all these guys sideways here. 3, 6, 7, 8 damage from this. And then the last 4 points with the Galv Blast to finish it up. Whew, game number 1. Going to our Affinity player. And that is really what you need to have happen. If you are the Affinity player, you need to be winning that game number 1. Okay? Because all of the hate that a lot of people bring in comes across in game number 2, game number 3. It makes it much harder to have to deal with, right? Because they're going to be running a bunch of scary things that you're going to have to be ready to kind of interact with. On this side of things, you know, things like Stony Silence kind of hurt Eric as well, so he has to be careful not to be playing anything like that. So you can think, all right, what stuff does he have? He's probably got single targeting things like Natural State and things along those lines that he could be able to use, right? He could be able to have Warping Whales come in. He, you know, could have some Pithing Needles, Nature's Claim. You know, I don't know if he's on Natural State or Nature's Claim, but basically they do the same thing, more or less, destroying a single targeted artifact or enchantment. So I'm not sure where he's running it. He's got red, so that means he does have access to things like Pyroclasm and things like that to be able to mess with his opponent. So we're gonna have to see what he has available and where he wants to kind of side into this. And it looks like a Oh, okay, a little bit more control-y route for TJ. He's going, here's my Blood Moon, here's my Pithing Needle, and here is my Ancient Grudge. So, trying to switch into a control route, essentially saying, hey, I can still come at you and be aggressive, but I can also be super hateful and lock you out using Blood Moon. So I hope you're ready for that. Alright, both players getting to that sideboard side of things, trying to make sure they're picking the right cards. And I think that's where Eric is, new to the deck, is trying to decide where he needs to go. And I think you can keep some of your board wipe stuff, because it will be tougher to deal when he's going land style and switches to Pierce. But I think having more board wipes available, the better. You have to try to get rid of some of your other stuff. Maybe some of those bigger things like, hey, World Breaker is nice, because it does have reach. You can deal with the lands. But maybe I don't need as many worm coils in there. Maybe I can shave down on a worm coil, right? Maybe I say, hey, Ugin is not going to help me, right? Ugin exiles each permanent with converted mana cost X or less that's one or more color. Well, all of these creatures are colorless, so you're not getting rid of anything with Ugin's minus ability. You're just going to sit here and lightning bolt something off it, which I would rather have my Oblivion Stone to be able to wipe out a board quicker than an Ugin. So I did see a couple of Oblivion Stones coming out, but I don't know. Looks like some Bolt, Ancient Grudge coming in. Blood Sun, maybe that is over there. So trying for that sort of route. Oh, looks like he's still debating on what to bring in. Okay, so he's got things like Thragtusk and things along those lines. Alright, both the players getting themselves ready. So, did anybody get a chance to check out the GP over the weekend? I was pretty happy to see 8 different decks in the top 8. Alright, we had Jund, we had the Nightfall, the Ironwork combo, Bring to Light Scapeshift, Tron, Green and Taxes, which is pretty sweet. We also had the Red-Green Eldrazi and Humans. So it was really cool to see kind of a mix of things, right? We had Jace running around with like the Bring to Light Scapeshift. We got to see Jace in that Nightfall list. We also got to see, of course, our friend Bloodbraid Elf making waves in the Red-Green Eldrazi. Got to see it in Jund. So like 2 lists were running Jace and running Bloodbraid Elf. So pretty cool to see. Alright, game 2, players getting ready. Had that nice little wait there. Alright. So, with the single targeting stuff that Eric has, if he is facing down the sort of Pierce strategy that TJ could go, it can work out really well. But if it's another go wide like that before Eric's able to get his lands online, it's going to be tougher. So we're going to have to see what sort of hands these players are able to craft and what sort of board state they're able to assemble. Alright, the players are debating now whether they want to keep or not. Another 3-drop. Pretty good. We see the sphere, another mine out of Eric there. So, pretty nice start that you'd expect. You know, you can pretty easily make a green off that Ancient Stirrings or Sylvan Scrying, depending on what your hand is looking like. But having 2 Tron pieces off the bat is really good. He can hope for that sort of natural Tron and be set up really nicely. But it looks like, yep, we'll pass on over to TJ. Inventor's Fair comes down, and looks like he says, I'm going to bring the beats. Here's 2 points of damage to you with that Battle Cry off that Signal Pest. And then he follows it up with a Steel Overseer. Alright, let's see. Did he end up finding a way to find his last Tron piece? Did he find an Ancient Stirrings? Did he find a Sylvan Scrying? Anything like that? Well, make a green, I'm assuming. Unless he's got like a red removal spell. Oh, yep, there he goes. He found it. Sylvan Scrying. Find the last Tron piece. Tron will be assembled. Looking for that power plant again. Finds a nice sign miscut. I like that one a lot because it's got double signatures. One, of course, on the power plant, one above it there. So it looks like with that 2 mana, he will drop down another map and pass. Alright, so I guess Eric looking at Ugin, and that's one of those ones where seems like a good card until you're facing down an affinity player, and then you're just like not feeling good about it. Spire of Industry. And looks like he's got a cranial plating here, so we'll activate the Steel Overseer. So 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts, and then 6, or sorry, 2 more damage to put it to 6 because of the Memnite there. So he will go dropping down to 12 life there. Another nice power swing going for this go wide ability. So looks like Eric is now in this sort of I need to stabilize a little bit more. Hopefully he can get a board wipe to kind of get things going. Not looking good with that Ugin. He could choose to shoot down like the Steel Overseer here and mitigate some more damage. But that's kind of where he would be at, right? Of plays here. He still has to worry about the cranial plating. And, you know, with that Ink Moth available, like, it wouldn't be that unreasonable to expect him to die to Infect if it goes Pierce style. So, I don't know. It's, hey, another tower. Looking pretty nice. So that's 10 mana available, so he could be able to say, here is Ugin, shoot something, be able to crack the map afterward kind of thing. Star still has one floating. Pops it. I would call red here over green, just because you have access to those red spells. But you know, maybe he picked green as well, knowing that Sylvan Scrying and Ancient Stirrings, there's more of those than the amount of red spells that he brought in. We'll see though. He has essentially 1 mana available. That 1 floating. I'm assuming it's red. I think he's trying to look through his lines of play and how he can survive this. So, for sure, oh wait, he took 1 extra damage. I lied. He should be at 11 because of the Signal Pest. Also, oh, he should be at 10 then. No, 11. I'm gonna say 11. Could have missed one. Looks like we'll do the Ancient Stirrings here. I guess it was debating about whether he needed that green or not for anything else. Oh, there's the Fire Spout. He cannot pick that though. That would have been really nice to help keep him in this though. Alright, let's see. Where does he... I mean, you can get a Tron piece off this, which is fine. You can... I think he... Yeah, I think he already has the Grove of the Burn Willows, so he doesn't need to worry about that, because I believe that was still in his hand. Wait a minute. He's already played a land this turn. He played a tower. Little bit of a misplay from Eric, playing an extra land. Remember, Ancient Stirrings does add whatever card it is to your hand. So, and that's okay. Sometimes, you know, the deck is so focused on lands like this, you might get caught up and make a mistake like that. Okay, let's see. What has TJ got? Anything available to finish him off? Here's another artifact. Make Signal Pest bigger. Oh my gosh. Yikes. Make everything really big. Okay. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 artifacts. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of damage. What a game. And yeah, TJ will take it. Hand gets extended, and TJ gets there 2-0 over Eric. So pretty good start to the tournament there. 1 round in. Affinity coming out quick, right? Getting out of the gate fast, ready to go. And, you know, that's what the deck is expecting to do. I think if you're going to go forward as a Tron player or learning how to play Tron in that sort of matchup, Ugin, don't need it. Board it out in Game 2, Game 3. Keep in more of those Oblivion Stones, because you sit there, it only costs 3 to play, right? So you could sit there and wait a turn, just put it down and force the Affinity player to go a particular route. Especially makes it much harder if they don't have those Arcbound Ravagers. Once they get those Arcbounds, things get a little bit dicey on math and how you have to position yourself. But, you know, just a little something to consider if you're going to be picking up the list. So let's just hop over round number 2. Keep things flowing, keep things going, guys, and we'll see who we've got on camera this time. The Hollow One coming out versus... So Keenan rocking out Hollow 1